it's not racist.
I mean, I just want to say I think you're really well spoken.
Well, thank you. I think I'm well spoken because I'm well read. Not because I aspire to speak like a white person.
Okay, you said as your topic,
yes,
that if you tell someone of color that you are so well spoken, that's racism. You said if you gave an or statement,
it's subversive. That is true. I did give an or statement. It's subversive racism, because usually the context around that you are so well spoken is, oh, you're so well spoken for your kind, or like I've had somebody say to me before, like, oh, my parents thought you were so eloquent. Like, but they think I'm supposed to be eloquent?
People say that to me all the time just because I have an English accent.
Oh, well, the English can say anything and it sounds intelligent. But that's why they have English narrate the certain shows and things like that. But you know what I mean.
Can I get some hearts, please? Can I get some hearts?
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure,
Feeling a bit unloved here. Yeah, I think maybe sometimes it is. Maybe sometimes. I agree with your statement, your position sometimes, but not all the time, because I think you got to be careful not to mind read, right? You got to be careful not to assume you know what's going on in someone else's head, because they may not be thinking like that at all. And I think also that if you, how can I put this? If you assume the worst of people, then they're going to be on their guard, and I think that's negative. I don't know. I don't really have a fully thought out thing here, but basically what I'm saying is sometimes, probably most of the time, I agree with your statement, but I think there are some times when it's not. It just is someone being nice.
Yeah. And so I do have to say
I think you're very intelligent, by the way.
Thank you.
And very well spoken.
Thank you. And I do have to say that it can come from two different people.
Yeah.
Sometimes within the Black community itself, telling somebody else, oh, well, you talk like a white person, that's an insult. Because then it's not cool to talk like a white person. Oh, and then you're trying to be an Oreo, and why don't you act like you're Black, and why don't you act like one of us, and how come you don't speak in Ebonics and those sort of things? Why are you trying to better yourself? Those sort of things. So that's a whole separate problem that I have with a lot of with what happens sometimes in the Black community. And then yes, there are some people that come with the idea that they're going to pay a compliment, and it's because I guess they're coming from a source of ignorance to maybe where they haven't been exposed to somebody like me. Their only experience has been with what they see on TV, or they don't really have as much exposure. So they're like, oh, well, you're so well spoken and all those sort of things, or, I've never met anybody like you or anything like that. And it's just sort of like, then you're not really that worldly, or you're not that experienced. So you live in a very closed-minded bubble. So there's definitely two sides of it.
But do you think that it's okay? We live in a very sensitive time where people, I think, are a little afraid to say what's on their mind. Do you think that it's, I feel like it's good if people don't feel so guarded about what they say. I'm not being very eloquent myself here, but like I feel like right now people are a little bit afraid to be publicly attacked. You know what I mean? For saying something that they meant maybe as a compliment. And yeah, it may be ignorant of them to say it because it may imply that they had assumptions before. But if they had assumptions before, and in engaging in a conversation with you or somebody else, they change those assumptions.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good thing, right? They have that new experience, and okay, yeah, I was of the opinion that you know, all people of a specific race or whatever speak a specific way or have, behave a specific way or something. And now I've seen the exception. Now I'm no longer ignorant, but because of the framework from which I was coming, I used specific language like, you're eloquent or whatever. I'm really not coming across properly, but you get what I'm saying? Like, isn't it good if they say that in a way? It might be subversive racism, but isn't it good that they change their mind?
No, absolutely. I think I see what you're saying. I think if they're coming from a place where they are having an eye-opening moment, or where, yeah, they are opening up their world, and they're in an environment where they can say it and they can say it openly, then yeah, I think it's great. But I still think they need to be mindful of how they say it. I think if it's like, oh, I've never, I had these predispositions, or I had these prejudgments coming into this conversation, and now after talking with you, or after leaving this conversation, I understand now more, or something. So I get what you're saying. I just think in my experience, what I have felt, and maybe this is something that I do need to go back and take a look at it again, is that those people that have said those things haven't spent enough time getting to know other people. And you know what, maybe that could have been my opportunity to open that door for them to say, okay, look, it's okay for you to have these interactions, or it's okay for you to not be so close-minded about different races and interactions. And not everybody's alike. Not all white people are alike. Not all Asian people are alike. Not all Black people are alike. But if you spend all your time just taking in whatever you see on TV or in the media, and then assigning all those characteristics to a whole race of people, then you're never going to learn and grow. And you could be missing out on good business opportunities or friendships or whatever, unless you actually sit down and talk to people.
Yeah. The other thing is, like, I like, for me, when I went to university, it was like hip hop was not popular music in Britain at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to love it. I used to love hip hop. So I used to go out to like a lot of clubs and stuff like that to listen to hip hop. Yeah, I know, it's weird looking at me now, right? But I used to get people saying to me all the time, like, stuff about how they were basically surprised that I was, into hip hop, or that I was like, I won't say I was a good dancer, but I was, at least compared to other British white guys, I was probably a good dancer. Sorry, any British white guys who are watching, don't mean to.
Nice.
But there are lots, like, compared to that, I was probably a good dancer. And I used to get like a lot of people, and I used to know all the words as well. And a lot of people used to say stuff to me about how I was, it was a compliment to me. I took it as a compliment because it was like, it was intended as a compliment. And in certain, so there's different scenarios as well when you feel like you're under some kind of pressure or something, or like you feel like people are thinking something about you. Something like that can be upsetting. But if you're comfortable, it's like, to me, it was a compliment in that situation. I went to Kenya back in 2001, I think, and it was like a weird thing because I felt like I was under a little bit of pressure because it was like really weird, like how people would, because I was literally, as far as I could tell, I was like for most of the time I was there, I was like the only white guy within like however many miles. When I went to Mombasa and I went out to a nightclub and there were lots of white guys there, but they were acting kind of sleazy and stuff. Like there were a lot of I don't know, it was soliciting, shall we say. It was kind of a weird thing. But I felt like I was being judged then on the basis of my skin color. And so I know from that point of view, when someone says something, I almost flipped on a guy because he called me like, I think he called me like Mzungu or something like that, which is like just white guy, right? Doesn't mean shit. But it bothered me a lot, and I was like really pissed off at that point. So I think it's partly the environment. It's partly the environment that you feel that you're facing every day as well, right? It's like it's not just an isolated incident of someone saying that. It's also sorry, I've got a cough. In case you hadn't noticed, it's also like if you feel like people are thinking these things all the time but not saying them, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then maybe there's like a little more to it than one incident, because I'm just saying like how I felt at that particular time. I don't know if it's the same. But yeah. So anyway, I don't know. Basically I agree with you, but I think there's another way to look at it, which is like maybe they're just sincerely, man, I'm dying here. What is going on? I'm choking up. I've got a really bad cough.
I think
call.
Yeah, no, so I agree with you, and I think definitely there could be. So basically, neuroscience tells us that our brain will train us to remember situations over and over again. So the more we experience something, our memory recall is always there to be like, oh yeah, you've been in this situation before. So if the words are constantly being repeated, or if the situation seems familiar, we'll always respond in kind based off previous situations. So yeah, so maybe if it's something that has happened before, then you're like, oh yeah, this is a familiar situation, so this person must be repeating these things in that way or whatever. But I just know that it's frustrating to me, and I also know that it's frustrating to be judged, and it happens to Black people all the time, that we're judged primarily based off of what we look like. And when you start speaking, you can almost see that sense of shock where somebody's like, oh, I didn't expect you to talk that way. Or yet I could have a long, extensive phone conversation with somebody and then meet them in person, and they're like, oh,
what the fuck?
I remember one time in particular, I'd had like 2 long phone meetings with this person before I finally met them in person at their office, and they were literally like, oh, it's you. And it's sort of like, yes, it's me. And am I predisposed to think that, yeah, maybe they didn't know what I looked like, and so that's why they were shocked? Or was it because they expected me to be shorter because I'm almost 6 feet tall? Nah, I don't think so. And I have a friend who's blind, and so of course he judges everything based off of what he hears and what he feels. And we're the first time we met him, and we're going around and we're like, hey, do you think you can describe us or whatever? And
that's funny.
And he said he had no clue. He said he had no clue that I was Black and all those sort of things. So
he's still friends with you? Did he become not your friend because he found
No. Yeah, still keep in touch with them every once in a while. But I'm just saying that for somebody that's always judged based off of what the exterior looks like, I think it's just one more thing to have somebody then go ahead and say, oh, well, you're so well spoken, or you talk like a white person, and you know that they are comparing you against something out there that maybe that, yes, they have experienced, but they've assigned it to their entire knowledge of what your external looks like in their mind.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. But here's another thing. So I'm not arguing against you at all. I'm agreeing with you. Now we're just having a discussion, right? So it's like I think that's humans, right? Humans have to do that, because otherwise it just take too. I mean, as animals, or as animals with a brain, we're pattern making, and we are like generalizing. And if you see one example of like a gremlin, right? Like a gremlin from the movie Gremlins. If you see one, you make an assumption that they're all like that, and then you realize that one of them knows the words.
Don't feed them past midnight.
Huh?
You can make the assumption that you should not feed them past midnight.
Yeah. That's enough. This is the second time on this app I've discussed Gremlins with someone. Is that me doing that? What's going on there? It is me doing that, isn't it? What's wrong with my brain? Oh God, I've regressed to like 10. So no, I'm just saying, like, we do generalize. That's like something we have to do to function as humans, but also animals do it as well. So that's difficult to get past, especially when there are stereotypes out there and stuff like that really are, like they're a little bit involved in all the media that you see. So, well, not all, but like a lot of it. And it's even the thing is, it's even promoted as well. It's like I don't even know what they do in music videos anymore, to be honest. I'm so old, I don't really know, but I know that like the hip hop I used to listen to, it was like, it was pretty negative for the normal person who's just trying to go about their business to be seen as that kind of thing. Yeah, but
and so, like in the whole discussion of things, talking about just people being very sensitive nowadays. I'm sort of torn between that, because on one hand, I think it's gotten too far to where you can't joke about anything, and you should be able to joke about the fact that we are different and we come from different backgrounds, and traditionally where people are raised differently, when you come from different cultures and those sort of things, and it's okay to joke about those sort of things, because sometimes it's just very, very funny. Black moms are different than white moms, and I will dare anybody to challenge me on that, because I grew up with a Black mom, so I know that Black moms are different than white moms. But then on the other hand, I think that there has to be some discussion that talks about a lot of those other sensitive topics, and try to get some of those things to change, like about how women are treated in the hip hop videos and those sort of things. So, I'm sort of torn between that. Like, yeah, we can joke about certain sensitive topics because we should be able to joke about them, because their stereotypes are there. They're always going to be there and whatnot. But then at the same time, we can't forget that there are some very serious underlying things in the stereotypes that need to be addressed. And if they're not addressed, the future generations are going to continue to carry those along with them.
Yeah.
And there's not going to be any unity amongst people. So if you carry those stereotypes along with you that don't encourage people to get to know each other and understand each other, that's a problem. But if you recognize it and say, look, we're all different and it's great, but let's just joke about it, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I see both sides too. That makes a lot of sense. It's I don't think you want to. You don't want to give people the impression they can't talk about these things, but also
Exactly.
you need. I think, and that's what people do nowadays, right? Isn't it? It's like they really say like you can't talk about this unless you're black. Well, that's stupid. That's like that just means like nobody who needs to change their mind is going to actually change their mind because they're not. They feel excluded from that. That's really, I hate that. And
Yeah.
but so if people don't feel like they can't participate in the conversation, the thing to ask them is like, why are you surprised? You know, and that kind of let them figure out for themselves that they held some stupid beliefs or something.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do that. That's weird. Yeah, I really don't know. But there's two sides to it, right? Two sides.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think that's a good point, is letting people invite people into the conversation instead of getting angry about it. Like I see a lot of my Facebook feed, there's people that are getting upset because of appropriation and all that sort of stuff. Like, oh, well, you know, they want to wear their hair like us and they want to wear their clothes like us. And Iggy Azalea can't be the hip hop artist of the year because she's white and all that sort of stuff. And it's just sort of like, what's the big deal?
Isn't that a good thing?
It's
Isn't
a
it
great
good thing that like that there's merging and appreciation? I mean, like that just means like another way of looking at that is like one culture has contributed to the other. There's nothing wrong with that.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you look at how people have traveled the globe and moved and influenced the cuisine and the culture of different nations, like so my great grandfather was born in Hong Kong, and then he stowed away on a vessel and landed in Jamaica. A lot of Chinese people did that. Jamaica has a huge Chinese influence.
So he was Chinese, was he?
He was Chinese. Well, he was born in Hong Kong. China didn't own Hong Kong at the time. It was a British territory.
Yeah.
But
sorry, my someone calling me on Skype. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So yes, I mean, so if you just look at a lot of nations and how they've been influenced because of other cultures that have come in and influenced the cuisine and the art and all those sort of things.
Yeah.
I don't see anything wrong with that. And to say that, well, Black culture hasn't also benefited from other cultures coming in. Hello, Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah, well, that's true. I never thought about that.
Yeah, if you watch
if
you watch the Hell show when they were doing like the race draft.
Yeah, that's true.
The Asians didn't choose Tiger Woods; they chose Wu-Tang Clan.
That's true. That's true.
That's what I'm saying. So
yeah, no, you're right. That's absolutely right. I think that's the right approach. I don't understand that at all. I saw the woman hitting some guy for having dreads the other day. I'm like, well, okay, I don't get that. It might not be. I mean, it might be weird or whatever. He might. I don't know. But like, so what? Let people be weird. Let people do. Even if someone does something rude, there's like no need to go crazy on them. You know, it's like just be offended and just leave it. So I didn't get that at all. Not at all.
Yeah, but you know what? If she went to Jamaica, she would see the white dreadheads that are there. She would see the white Rastafarians.
Yeah.
And the Rastafarians in Jamaica are not kicking out the white guys, because throughout Jamaican culture, we're mixed with German and Indian and Chinese and all those sort of things. So she was just coming from a very misguided place that thinks dreads only belong.
Yeah, she just seemed like she was a bit trigger happy and looking for something to complain about.
Exactly.
Which is also another sign of the times. Well, I'm just looking at myself, realizing I'm like bruised, bruised all over. I was grappling this weekend. I got beaten up. Wow.
Did you? So Conor McGregor decided to retire?
I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. That's
All I saw was the headline, and that was it.
Story to be continued, I think. We're going to probably find out a lot more in the coming days about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll battle you on it. I'll battle you on it if you like. Maybe later.
Yeah, maybe later. I thought for certain that he was going to. Is he going to retire after his fight or before? Because he was going to fight Nate Diaz again, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, he got pulled from that event. So.
Really? Because he earned more money in that Nate Diaz fight than Nate Diaz did.
Yeah, for sure.
He earned a lot more than
Superstar.
Nate.
He's the Michael Jackson of MMA.
Yeah, I saw a pretty cool video where I don't know where this was happening, if this was happening in Ireland, but as he said that as he would drive to the fight, he would always see this cardboard cutout of himself on the guy's balcony.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I saw that one. Yeah, where he went into the guy's house.
Yeah, and finally he's like stopped in and was just like, "Hey, what's going on?" And I can't believe that happened.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Screaming fans.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I'm going to take this Skype call because the guy I'd call him back in a few. But thank you very much for the battle. I think the scores say it all. You won.
Huh?
The scores say it all. You won. I got no love. Nobody loves me. It's all right. I'm used to it.
Talk to you later.
See you. Bye.